Hey, Mill Spouses. I want you to take a minute and think of someone who is an amazing leader within the military spouse community. I'm sure somebody came to mind when I said that. All of these people have something in common, and that is that they are influence-based leaders. What does that mean? Well, an influence-based leader is leading with no authority. That looks like leading usually with no real title. It means leading a team of people who are not getting paid and don't have to be there. So how are they doing it? What's making them successful then? It's their influence. It's them. It's who they are. It's how they lead that gets people on board with whatever the mission is. I think that there's 3 ways to be an influence-based leader. Number 1, whatever organization you are with, whether it's a spouses club, it's a PTO or another organization on post, the people who are volunteering with you need to know your mission. They need to be on board with that mission. So if it's a spouses club and your mission this year is to increase your membership, the people on your team need to know that. They need to know that you guys are going to be out in the community this year. They need to know that you're going to be highly visible. You're going to be going to events on post, handing out flyers. They need to be on board with that. If your goal is fundraising for the year and you want to double the amount of money that you made last year, then your team, especially who is running your fundraising, needs to be on board. They need to know that that is the goal for the year. That needs to be clear because they're going to be busy. And to be successful, they know they're going to have to put in, they're going to have to put in some extra hours and some more effort than normal to make the fundraiser successful. So that's how that looks within your organization, no matter what it is. And your mission overall, if your mission in a spouses club is to just better the community which you live in, if that is your mission, then you are living that mission all year. So the people who are on your team are not just there for bunco and wine nights, although those are fun. That's not why they're there. They're there to better the community. So make sure that your team is on board with the mission and excited about it. If you're excited about it, that spreads. Number 2 is good communication. So I'm not talking group texts, thousands of chats a day. That's my nightmare. If you know me, that's my nightmare. That's not what I mean. Those are great. I love to see my team chatting back and forth about whatever it is, usually not organizational based. But what I mean by good communication is when you have spouses with busy schedules and they are making the time to come to a planned meeting, whether it's once a month or it's a committee meeting or it's a Zoom meeting, whatever it is, if you are having people show up for free to a meeting, it needs to be worth their time. So the whole saying, like that could have been an email, that's what we're trying to avoid here. So clear communication means that while you're at that board meeting, there are no unknown answers to anything that was asked during that meeting, okay? So that means people are leaving there with new information. They know dates and times of places where they need to be. They have a deadline. That one is key, especially when you are working with so many different people on your team doing different things. They need to know what's expected, okay? What is the deadline that you want me to make this post? What is the deadline that we have for the last donation to come in? All of this needs to be clear. So that is what I mean by clear communication. On the other side of that, when you build these committees and they're working as smaller groups, they need to know who is the lead of that group because it's not going to be you. You're leading the entire board. So when you start to get smaller groups and we're talking about, the fundraising committee, the scholarship committee, they need to know who they are to go to for questions within that group, okay? Otherwise, you're going to be getting 1,000 questions. And if you are getting questions like that, I highly, highly recommend that you reroute them to the right individual, okay? So now you're giving the other people on your board leadership, okay? You're putting the ball into their court. You're developing leaders that way. If you just always answer every question, and you might actually answer it wrong, and now you have them doing something that the person that's leading that small group did not want. So that's that. And the last one, and this is one that if you are already a leader and you find yourself leading different organizations or different little groups or whatever, then you probably already have this. But it cannot really be something that is taught. It's just something that you inherently have, and that is you genuinely need to care about the people who are working for you in this organization, especially the people who are on your team in a nonprofit. Because like I mentioned before, they're not getting paid. They don't have to be there. They don't have to show up at all. So the way that looks for me is when people miss meetings or I haven't seen them show up to, any of our events for a while, I don't reach out and just say, hey, why weren't you at the board meeting? That's not how I would approach that. I'm going to go in and say, hey, I noticed you weren't at the meeting last week. Is everything going okay? Are you guys doing okay? Do you need anything? That's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to let them know that, yes, I'm aware they weren't at the meeting, but are they okay? And that I care about them. So it's more than that. If they come back with, oh my gosh, I just totally forgot, totally okay. All right. They are doing this for free. Yes, I want them to show up to everything, but you have to have an understanding and empathy for this lifestyle that we are living. Okay, we are all used to being solo parents at times, dealing with kids who are homesick, all that stuff. So you need to remember that when you're talking to the people on your team. And we can get way more into this as well, but I think I have a whole video on kind versus nice, and we'll talk a lot more about all of this stuff because I do truly feel you can get a lot further with your team and your organization with kindness than jumping down everybody's throats when they're making mistakes or not doing what you want them to be doing. So my thought is that I'm leaving you with this, is that all of us as military spouses have the ability to be an influence-based leader. And like I said, in my opinion, this is one of the hardest forms of leadership that you're going to encounter. But with these 3 tips, you're good to go.